See, but we watched a movie about a fat samurai.
Yeah, fat blind.
Fat blind samurai.
Zatoichi.
Zatoichi loves eating
Flash
his food.
dance.
And his flashing dance.
Yeah, it's called. This is Zatoichi's Flash Dance. No, this is called Zatoichi's Flashing Sword from 1964.
Yeah.
It's a classic. Basically, it's a classic western.
Mhm.
Yeah. You brought that up. I thought that was a really good analogy. It
Two
really worked out.
rival gangs fighting over water rights. In this case, it's rights to a crossing, a river crossing of a ford.
Mm-hmm.
Beginning of the movie, he gets shot by some random loser. Yeah, a random punk shoots him, a blind man.
Oh yeah, in the back.
Just walking. And some random people help him save him, and he gets some help. And after he gets better, they tell him, "Oh, it was this fireworks guy."
Yeah.
So Zatoichi goes to that village, and the guy's like, "No, it's this woman." So he goes, and it ends up being a yakuza boss's daughter. So he ends up being hooked up.
So that dude was a yakuza thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was just a nice yakuza.
Good,
That's
good
what it
criminal,
seemed like.
yeah.
He was like, I mean, if you go back technically in history, the actual yakuza didn't exist until post World War II.
Yeah.
That's where the actual yakuza come from.
Oh, the bad yakuza.
No, just any
Yeah,
any
yakuza.
yakuza
Okay.
in general. They used to just have lords, and
Yeah.
you had lords, and maybe some of them were nicer than others, but yeah. So this is an old movie series. For those that don't know, there's like 25 of these movies featuring this guy, Shintaro Katsu, I think.
Mm.
Maybe. But I did say, I remember last time we watched a Lone Wolf and Cub movie, I said that Lone Wolf is my favorite samurai, but no, this is actually my favorite samurai.
He's got those quips.
He's just so much personality. He's just this happy-go-lucky blind guy that he's a gambler. He loves eating food. Just a nice guy.
Yeah.
Stuffing his face with rice, buying kids lollipops.
Yeah. But people do not like a blind guy that's capable. They hate it. Especially one that can kill people with a sword. So he has a sort of reputation in the Yakuza, the crime world, as being a guy that kills motherfuckers. And other people get mad about it, so there's always somebody out to get him.
You know,
Much like Lone Wolf and Cub.
Right. Yeah. Now, is everybody after him because he got some big dude? Was that what it was? Like some big Yakuza boss or something like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, they say it at the beginning.
Yeah.
There's a few of them that he's killed,
Yeah, okay.
including even a government official
Oh.
in a previous movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
kind of sets a reputation for himself that makes him a target in the sense that, like, they even ask him after that kid shot him, is like, "What do you do it for money?" "Oh, you must have done it for credentials in your gang." And it's like, the bigger target you've got, you know, the more people are after you. They're kind of going after him, if not for money, then just to be able to say that they killed Zatoichi.
He even says, I think it's in the other one that we reviewed, Zatoichi on the Road, where he says something like, I wish I had never learned the sword. It was so stupid for me to do that, because it kind of painted a target on him. You know, he just wanted to be capable, but he ended up killing too many of the wrong kind of people and getting some attention, which is, you know, it's similar to what happens here.
Yeah.
He gets drawn into this stuff because he gets shot at the beginning.
He's just trying to repay a debt.
Yeah, and he wants to repay the person. He ends up in this Yakuza boss's house, and he's just kind of staying there, eating their food and hanging out, chopping some wood or whatever.
It's a free kimono.
Yeah,
We find out though that that boss's son is the dirtbag that tried to kill him early on. Comes back to the family. He's kind of been kicked out. But at the same time, we have another. This is where the whole classic Western thing comes in. The rival gang wants the rights to the ford. And they're hooked up with a magistrate because that boss is sending his sister out to bang the magistrate to get influence that way. But they need a legal reason to do it. So what they're doing is they want to provoke this guy into doing something illegal to then,
Oh yeah,
as
to
a
get it.
yeah, as a justification to then just legally
provoke
take the
the-
rights. So that's the whole setup to the story. It's just sort of the machinations between these two gangs. Sort of the Zatoichi is with the sort of honorable old style yakuza versus the fucking dirtbag that's just in cahoots with the government. Will do whatever it takes to get what he wants. You know, lacks honor basically.
Mhm. One of my favorite parts in this movie was when all the dudes were watching the Yakuza, whatever she was, girlfriend or whatever, sister,
The sister, yeah,
taking a bath. Everybody's like peeping Tom on her,
yeah.
and he comes up acting like he was watching, and he's like, "Why even bother watching if you're blind?" He's like, "Ah, it just
Makes me feel
makes
like
me feel like I can see."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Get the fuck out of here!" And then Zatoichi's like, "Hey, stop staring at her." They all get pissed off.
They
That was
run
a-
away,
yeah.
and he's the one that gets splashed.
But he got a massage out of it, or got to give a massage out of it.
Well, and that's where he overhears the Yakuza boss, the nasty one. He overhears about what they're intending to do
Right.
with his host, and that's where we kind of get sprung into it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do the
Yeah.
shots real quick.
Oh,
It's the two of us.
Yeah.
Get
Cheers.
your
Oh,
club
get your
soda
Club
there.
soda.
Okay.
God. Terrible.
Mm.
But yeah, so okay, somebody's playing some music now.
Something.
There's 4 people in this bar. But so you have this standoff over the river, over these rights. Basically, the guys set up the good guy's son, provoke him into a fight, and then they catch him.
Yeah.
The guy that tried to kill Zatoichi. They provoke him into a fight, and then they catch him, and they basically say, okay, hand over this shit, or we'll just kill him. We'll torture him and then kill him.
Should have done it. Should let him die.
Probably.
Son was be shit.
Probably.
Yeah.
Zatoichi hears about this, and he goes and saves them. Even though he knows who he is. He knows who he is. He goes in and saves him. It's a great scene where he confronts the Yakuza boss and his sister.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a sort of like, it's the thing. It's always so good.
Classic Zatoichi.
It's a classic anime thing, or even it's a classic power fantasy thing, where you have your opponent does not they don't suspect how strong you are, and then you show it in a way that's embarrassing for them.
Yeah.
So the guy lunges for his sword. He's got these like two. There's like a potted plant and then this water thing that's like dripping water down. He cuts through that. He cuts through the sword, all in the one hit.
Yeah.
And the guy like tries to go for a sword, and then the sword like collapses, and you see the bottom piece of it slide out
of the sheet.
the cut
yeah.
scabbard. And before that, he had thrown the pipe and then the hairpin into these masks.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like, what? What now? And then he leaves and he frees them, but then it go back later and you see the both of them like they've been knocked out and they have the masks on their face. You know, it's that kind of
Could
thing.
have just ended it there, but want to have a story for the
There's
battle.
so much anime influence
It is.
in these movies.
I've noticed that with like the sheen of the sword or whatever.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
sound and then
Yeah.
it's just the flash of the sword and
Yeah.
then 4 flies are dead on the mat or whatever.
Well, I think it's interesting that this was 1964.
Yeah.
It's because I thought it was later than that, just with how it was filmed, the cinematography, the color, and everything like that. Which I'm not sure if that's like a post thing or was it actually filmed in color like that?
Yeah, yeah. The first 2 are actually in black and white. But yeah, after that they're all in color. It's just good.
It's
that
good
old
transfer.
film, that
Yeah.
old film is just really good, and this is this is a Criterion. They just cleaned it up, scanned it, rescanned it. But really, it does look really. It looks new.
It does. Yeah.
It's an amazing look to it. But yeah, it all comes down to they the bad guys. They figure out who Zatoichi is, and they tell the people he's with, hey, he's a criminal, he's a wanted fugitive, you got to kick him out. So they kick him out. And to me, the first time I watched it, to me it was a very sad scene.
It was.
He's
walking by himself.
Right.
He's like, oh, the old man said every 10 fireworks going to be special.
He's so excited about it. Yeah, he can't even see the fireworks, and
Yeah.
he's excited about them, right? He's been staying in this house for a while. They don't really give you a sense of time, but it's been it's been a little while, a week or two or whatever. And it seems like this girl really likes him, got that
You're
going.
special.
Yeah, she calls him special. And they bring him in. They're like, you have to get out. He's like, well, what's the deal? What'd I do?
Yeah.
Shut up. We don't have to tell you that. Get the fuck out. He's like, no, but really, I'm so sorry. I gotta get the fuck out. He's
You're
just
a piece
like,
of shit.
yeah, he's just like,
Blonde piece of shit.
and she's like, Zato. And he's like, no, quiet. He tells his daughter to shut the fuck up. And he's just like, oh, okay, I guess I'll go. And of course, Zatoichi goes away. That's when they all come in and just
They all
fucking
die.
murder everybody.
Slaughter everybody.
I mean, she makes it. The girl makes it. But everybody else gets fucking murdered. And then he hears the fireworks going off. They had shut him down. He hears them going off again. So he's like, okay, something's going on. He goes back. And then it's just, the end of the movie is just him basically just like wading through Yakuza and just killing everybody.
In the dark.
In the dark.
Yeah.
Cuts a candle in half, has the candle still lit on his sword, using that as light.
Yeah.
Around. That's pretty cool.
It's like he's using that to fuck with him because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter to him.
Yeah.
But there's that scene, that scene where he kills those guys and then he cuts all the candles and then you see that top-down view where he's in the hallway and he's fighting these guys on each side. It's just so well done. It's such a well shot. They lit it perfectly, even though he got rid of all the lights. But you could see just enough. And he ends up cornering the boss at the end. But there's so many good little fights in there in that whole section. And it's true, like this movie compared to other Zatoichi movies doesn't have as many fights early on, but it's got them at the end, and it really you're like, I really want to see all these people die now.
Yeah.
So it ends up being really good at the end. But
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
you guys got any more thoughts on it? You want to
I
go?
didn't
to
like the ending because I felt like there was other people there left to fight.
Who?
There was other dudes behind them chasing
you
them down.
want to see him clean up everybody after the boss, like every single
like
one.
what
Yeah.
happens.
Well, he cleans up the guys as he's walking away from. He's walking away from the.
Maybe
castle
one of
he's
them
been kicked
ends
out.
up with a gun again.
Maybe let's
Like
see him
the
go
last-
back and get his dick sucked by
Something like that.
Okuni or whatever the fuck her name was.
Well, like with these movies, like usually I'm pretty hyped about some gunplay, but in that first scene where they had that punk with the blunderbuss and everything, it's like that's not going to do it. You're going to need like 100 of those, and even then, that's not going to do it. Like that's not going to work.
It's like a
You got
bitch move.
Zatoichi.
You're
Yeah.
gonna shoot a blind man, a famous swordsman, in the back with
Yeah.
a gun.
No, and
What
that's
a
not
bitch move.
Even
It
I
is.
was like, that's not going to be enough. That's not going to do it. You don't know who you're dealing with there. That's not it.
Well, they just pat him on the back, said, "Here
Yeah.
you go,
Get 'em.
you're good."
You're like, yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be
Yeah.
fine.
The fight where they either like they corner him while he's trying to take a bath, and he just goes underwater.
Oh, yeah.
And just
Oh,
cut
yeah,
people.
Underwater assault. Yeah.
I don't know what you expected to happen. Like, that
Don't
foregone
follow a
conclusion.
man. Don't follow a blind man out in the water.
No,
Do it.
Can't
You can
even
feel the currents all around him. Like you.
there's other senses are heightened.
Yeah.
sense of swim.
Yeah, like feel it.
That was good. I like the scene where they do pay those guys to take care of Zatoichi, even after like the bad mob bosses allegedly already won and everything. It's like, well, what are you gonna do? You know, you guys aren't good enough to take care of him. And are you sure he's gone? And then he's right there. He's just right there. He slices them up because he hears he hears the whole plot.
He's like, is that what actually happened?
Yeah.
He just kills all of them.
Yeah.
Immediately, like one go.
I think was the one that was on the road. Was that before or after this one?
That was before this one.
Before. I do feel like, and I'm a little fuzzy on that last one. I do feel like the sword fighting wasn't as frequent, but it was really good. I do feel like it wasn't so like flashy and just kind of hidden with camera angles. I do feel like you were able to see more, despite it being dark in most of the scenes. Like I felt like you were actually able to see a lot of the.
I think they cleaned up his style a little bit. Earlier movies, it does seem like he flails about a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I think you get later on, they made it more. Oh no, he knows exactly where he's going.
Yeah.
And he's not staggering around so much. They did that. There was a little bit of that in here, but not quite as much as in the past movies.
Yeah.
I do like his kind of quips and quirks and stuff. He's stuffing his face with rice, and he's kind of like, I'm just a blonde man.
He's such a funny character. He reminds me of Curly from the Three Stooges. It's like he took something from that. It really does. Like some of his mannerisms and stuff, like it's like weird, quirky way of doing things. The way he kind of crouches when he walks, like he has this. It's like he figured out this character early on. And is like, this is what it is, and it's really well. It's very endearing. Like you're like, man, this guy is so fucking cool. I just want him to be able to walk around and eat food and not be bothered, you know. But I also want to see him kill a bunch of people too. So it's like
the perfect film.
Yeah, could I just carry around his food and just hang out with him? Be like, are you hungry? Here you go. Yeah, I mean, I'll kill these guys. I'll step back. But.
Got the kids, like, scene with the kids where they try to tell him, after he buys, he's like, how many kids are there? It looks like 15 kids. He ends up buying them all lollipops.
I was hoping he would either run, just run immediately.
Or have to be a dang sweets vendor for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. I'm just selling these lollipops out here to make up for my 15 lollipops I bought here. Please buy one.
All right, let's go to scores on this. All right, well, let me give mine. I obviously love the series. I love this character. This is a 5 for me. It doesn't have as much action early on, but it's actually really well plotted. How everything's set up between the two gangs, how everything happens, it's really well done. It draws you in, and you've got this back end thing where the Yakuza boss's son is the guy that tried to kill him, that whole thing, and he ends up helping him. He doesn't want to hurt people. He's a nice guy. He just gets drawn into shit. But this is a 5 for me. I think there's only been one of these movies so far, and I've seen like half of them. There's only been one of them that I was like, it could have been better. But I really like this movie.
That's going to be a 5 for me as well. I'm a fan of this. I've been wanting to watch another one of these since we watched On the Road. I finally got my wish, and it was totally worth it. I like the way it was filmed. I like the comparison to a good old-fashioned spaghetti western. But this was easy. I've watched a few of those with like my grandpa, and I feel like this was easier to watch. This was more entertaining to me than
samurai films or spaghetti westerns.
Samurai films. This series specifically is easier to watch than the spaghetti westerns, just because, I love a good gunfight and all that. And I love bar fights, people getting thrown out of saloons and things like this. But despite all the tooth pain, this was really something I wanted to stick with. I'm really endeared to the character. I like the writing, the cinematography is really good, the color is really good. I like the character a lot. Stuffing rice in his face. That was me.
That was you.
That
were
stuffing
rice
in my face.
No, I'll give this a 5 too. I love the dude's quips. I wish I kind of wrote down like some of the shit he said because they were very funny for a blind man. Especially like one of the first ones was when he went to the fireworks guy. He's like, "Oh, he's deaf. This is great."
Yeah, he's
Blind
trying to
man
talk to
talking
the
to
old
a
man.
deaf-
The old
deaf
man
man.
cannot hear him at all. He's like, "Oh, this is gonna be a problem." A deaf man and a blind man. Yeah.
And I love this shit like that. That's my favorite parts of it is the blind man just doing these jokes about him being
he makes
blind.
the best of it. Yeah.
And that's why I love watching those movies.
Blind people are funny. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Blind
you gotta have something.
Yeah. Gotta have something to offer society. Besides being a murdering masseuse.
I mean, that sounds like a story right there.
I've been watching these movies all week, and I think about he's a traveling blind man.
Yeah,
I'd have to imagine that the vast majority of blind people don't travel ever.
they stay in a general
They've got-
area.
They have their house memorized,
Yeah.
and then if they do go out in the public, they know exactly how to
The
get to.
route, yeah.
Yeah,
They know how their bills are marked. and
yes, they know how
everything,
to get to the supermarket, and they
Yeah.
know where the onions are over here, or whatever. You know, they know exactly where
This
they go.
dude's wandering all over.
He just
Japan.
fucking he walks. He might touch a sign every once in a while, you know.
But we
It's
do
just-
have that scene where he has the let's play with those quips where they're beating up that country dojo guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, I told you this isn't a show. You better
Oh,
get out of
yeah.
here. And he's like, I'm blind, bro. Even if it was a show, I can't see it.
Yeah. They're like, you're not gonna joke on us that way. Fuck you.
Then he
Yeah,
whips
that
their
was
ass.
good. Then he says he's like Swordmaster. I can't remember the name. He's like Swordmaster said that. He was like, what did he say? He's like your opponent draws a sword, and then
Oh, and then you
And then-
strike down, then you're both down.
and then you react to the sword, and then the worst thing that happened is that you both die
Yeah.
or whatever.
So if
Something
you
like
could
that.
all raise your swords at once, so I don't have to get beat up.
Yeah. And then he says, I don't want to fight you all at once. I don't want to fight you one on one because I'll just get beat up repeatedly. He said, could you all just attack me at the same time? And they're just like, fuck you.
Besides
And then he
being
just
funny, those
takes them
scenes
all
are
out.
really
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
It really does kind of set. In those movies, you always have like the opening scene. He's like cutting the flies in half, or he's what was it in On the Road where like those bandits jump him or whatever. And he's just
Yeah.
some blind masseuse. Like it's just very classic Zatoichi. I think.
Yep. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Be sure to like, subscribe, share. If we reach 200
200 subscribers.
I get to punch Nick.
That's a little
In the
closer.
stomach.
That's a little closer.
In the stomach, I
By-
can take a
right in
stomach
the
shot.
stomach.
I can take a stomach shot.
By
By next week.
next Wednesday. So
Next Wednesday,
I
I'll
post
take a
these
stomach
up on
punch.
Wednesday.
No, let's
so
say Monday, so we'll know, so we can punch him.
Oh
Okay,
yeah, I guess
we'll do
so.
it next Monday.
Next
Yeah,
Monday.
You've got 7 days.
You have 7 days from today.
What are we at? 156 still?
No.
166.
Oh, way more than that.
Oh, way more. We're at 188 and 189.
Lord, oh my God!
200 subscribers.
200 subscribers.
Patrick will punch his brother in the stomach.
Yep, on camera.
And Nick will say thank you when
Yeah.
he does it. There you go.
Thank you.